Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to do a little exercise in creativity. Now, I know some of you, when you hear the word creativity, you think, oh no, I'm a software engineer. I don't like creative things. And others, you'll tell me, oh no, I work with mathematics. Don't ask me to write a creative story. Sometimes in italki classes, I can see the barrier coming down, It's like watching the owner of a shop bringing down the barriers. Some people just really aren't open for creative exercises. But there's a few reasons why you need to know at least the basics of creative writing. One reason is because here we do still have some people who use language like this is 1921, especially some of our older people. Boris Johnson, for some reason, was expert at this. He often spoke like he'd just stepped out of an Oscar Wilde novel. I'm not sure how much of that was actually him, or whether it was just his character when he was prime minister, maybe his image. I don't know, but we do still have people around who speak in ways which take us back many years. So that's one reason why you need to have some knowledge of where English is coming from, especially in Britain. You need to know a little bit about our creativity in the past and also our creative writing. Now, let's just begin. So this is a very simple exercise, okay? So I want you to go to the window, wherever you are, and I want you to look out, okay? And I want you to write down 10 words in English of what you see, okay? So for me, those 10 words are going to be, let's see, grass, garden, fence, pavement, road, truck, sky, rain, clouds, trash cans, rubbish, children. Okay, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay, so when you have 10 words, I want you to stop. Okay, now if we just use those 10 words to create a description, we're not really going to get very far. Okay, so if I say, oh, there's a fence, there's grass, there's a road, it doesn't really tell an English examiner very much. I mean, it doesn't create a mood or a scene. But if we link these things together, we can create a very nice story and a very simple story. So imagine this is the opening of a famous book. It doesn't have to be something as complex as Harry Potter, but let's just imagine that it's something else, okay? Just let me paint a picture for you. The fence was as black as coal and it seemed to glow against the grey pavements. I could never decide whether the pavement and the road were reflecting the sky or whether they always just looked so grey. The grass, which sat next to the black fence, looked like it was trying to speak, trying to tell me something. Perhaps it held memories of the many things that it's seen happen in this street. The trash cans are waiting for the trash man, the rubbish collector, to come and collect them. I wonder what stories they're holding. I wonder if I asked them what happened in the houses that they came from, would they speak of indulgence? Would they speak of exuberance? Or would they just speak of waste? Now, these are just random thoughts, okay? But my point is this. When you join things together, you can create a mood. And that is what you're looking to do in any story, in any English exam, or to create any kind of atmosphere. Now, in my story, I created quite a negative picture there, especially with the grey sky reflecting the grey road. It didn't sound very nice, did it? But I could easily change that around. Listen to me using more words to describe the same things in a positive way. I'm looking outside and I see a black fence which is surrounding my house. And it reminds me of my grandmother. She used to always say that home should be the dearest spot on earth. It should be the center, though not the boundary of affections. Beyond the fence, there's the road where people are rushing around doing their daily chores. The road has a kind of silvery glow to it, which sits well with these silver cars and metallic colors which are reflecting the sky. The sky also is full of clouds which are roaming like they're searching for their own home. The grass in front of the fence in my garden is calling for me to cut it. It knows that it's been a few weeks, and it also knows that as much as it needs to be cut, I also love tending it. Now, you can hear there that I've created a very different kind of mood compared to the first story. So the objects that I'd seen, those 10 words that I'd written down, I can go anywhere with those words. I can create something positive. I can create something negative, which in turn is going to affect the person who's hearing the story or reading about it. And this is what you want to work with. When you're asked to describe something, it's not about looking outside and getting those 10 words. It's about looking inside and seeing what your mood is putting onto those things that you see. So, yes, of course, initially you need to look outside to get the words, but then what do you do with them? You know, today I was doing some cleaning, and on my table there were some toothpicks, you know, those little bits of wood that you can push into your teeth after dinner to remove bits of food that are stuck there. So there was a little box of toothpicks. There was a radio which was shaped like a scorpion. Now, I have some really trashy things here, okay? So a radio shaped like a scorpion shouldn't seem unusual, at least not in my apartment. And then there was also a magazine, okay, with a photo of the Queen. Now, while I was cleaning, my little cat was getting excited, so he jumped onto the table because he really doesn't like the Hoover, okay? The vacuum cleaner, as it's called in American English. He jumped onto the table, he knocked over the toothpicks, the box opened, and they ended up on the floor on top of the radio. which is shaped like a scorpion. Also, lying next to those was the picture of the Queen. And it was one of these photos where she's holding the scepter, the rod. And I thought to myself, oh, that would be a wonderful story, about a place of magic rods, imagining these toothpicks to be very huge, to be much bigger, I should say. We can't say very huge, you can only say very big, okay? So that was my little mistake there. So I was imagining these toothpicks, which are much bigger, and an evil witch comes and steals one of them, and these rods are magical, and she uses them to catch a scorpion from the sea and turn it into a queen. And the only way we know the queen is really a scorpion is because she's carrying her magic stick, her scepter. Now, wouldn't that be a wonderful idea for a story? And do you see how easy that story is to create? So, thinking back again to our 10 things, you can create any mood that you want just from those things as the beginning of a story, in the same way as a box of open toothpicks lying next to a scorpion radio and a photo of the Queen can inspire us to write the story. Now, I do understand that not all of us are writers, but you really do need to be getting some idea of how to describe things well. I know many of you have learned English only from technical books, from your job, okay, about designing software or whatever else, but you need to be looking more into literature. I mean, you don't have to be writing, but I really would encourage you to be open enough to be looking at short stories. You'll be surprised how much your English will change, because you'll see that English is not really a technical language. It is incredibly creative, and it also shapes the way we see things here, as well as shaping the way we speak. As I mentioned earlier, some of our old people still speak like this is, 1921. So it would give you a really good understanding of how we got to this point. You don't have to do anything drastic. Just go to the window, look out, choose even 3 or 4 things, and try to describe them in a story-like way, you know? If you can't do that, pick up a book and start to read it. Even if it's Stephen King, it doesn't matter. You might think, oh no, Stephen King, that's really hard for me. But that's another barrier there. And the only way you're going to move forward is if you begin to break through these barriers, even in little ways. I understand the word creativity brings up a great fear for many of you, but it doesn't have to be that way. Let's define creativity as something simple. I'm not asking you to, rush to a mountain and begin writing. It's not like that at all, but you do need to begin exploring different avenues of creativity, even if it's just reading a few pages of a novel. That's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's talk soon. See you. Bye.